All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking an absolutely epic, deeply satisfying dark fantasy journey. It's all about a discarded scout named Kai. Now, to the rest of the world, he was just a guy everyone thought was dead weight. But in reality, he was secretly carrying his entire party on his back. We're going to get right into exactly how a brutal betrayal birthed one of the most dangerous, calculating anti-heroes out there. So we kick things off right in the thick of it with the ultimate betrayal. Luke's quote-unquote A-rank hero party has just cleared a dungeon, and out of absolutely nowhere, they expel their scout, Kai. And they don't just, fire the guy, they shoot him with a paralysis poison. As Kai drops to the floor, Rick the Sage sneers at him, saying he always looked like a crawling dog. The warrior Bria literally grinds her heel into him and strips him of all his hard-earned gear. But honestly, the cruelest moment is when Rick finds Kai's pendant. It's this keepsake containing a photo of his murdered family. Rick uses an appraisal skill, calls it worthless junk, and maliciously crushes it under his boot. Just incredibly brutal stuff.
See, the thing is, Luke's party thought Kai was just some glorified lockpick they could easily swap out for a few new magic spells. But the invisible reality, Kai was literally the only thing keeping them alive. He was the one out there disarming complex layered traps, reading the flow of every single battle, tracking everyone's magic points with pinpoint precision, and mapping these massive dungeons in his head so they never got lost. He was the glue holding the whole operation together. Left practically for dead in the dirt, with absolutely nothing, Kai is abandoned on this monster-infested road. But fate steps in. He crosses paths with a severely wounded demon named Ares. Now, what's crazy here is Ares is actually a high-ranking demon and the master of the very tower Kai's party just supposedly cleared. She's cornered by a group of filthy bandits. On pure impulse, completely disgusted by humans who prey on the weak, and remembering that Ares fought with pride, Kai makes a wild choice. He slaughters the bandits with his bare hands and some stolen gear, saving the life of his former enemy.
Now, here's the real kicker, the secret behind Kai's true power. That hero party thought he was just a simple support thief, right? Well, they couldn't have been more wrong. Kai possesses this completely unique, frankly terrifying ability called Steal Star. It doesn't just steal items. No, it allows him to permanently steal and claim skills from monsters and even other classes. It takes a massive physical and mental toll on his body every single time he uses it, but man, the payoff is immense.
Because of this, Kai has quietly built up an insane arsenal of stolen monster skills. Check this out. He uses Red Thorn from a desert monster for instant piercing attacks, Sticky Web to ground flying targets, Storm Breath from a frost dragon, Flash Step for ridiculous speed, Dragon Slayer Stance to reflect physical attacks, and get this, Medusa Eye for instant paralysis. He was never dead weight. He was a highly versatile powerhouse, fully capable of just completely subverting the world's magic systems.
Meanwhile, back with Luke's party, without Kai holding their hands, they face a rapid, chaotic collapse. They arrogantly march into the Troll Cave dungeon with this new sage Alice, totally convinced they're unstoppable. But without Kai to map or detect hidden dangers, the Archer Frey instantly triggers a layered trap. This alerts a massive horde of variant trolls that can literally read physical movements. The party completely panics, burns through all their magic points, and their formation just completely shatters. And as they scramble to survive, their true, ugly colors completely show. Bria purposefully shoves their timid priestess Sylvie into a trap to act as bait. Then Rick the Sage literally freezes the new girl Alice to the floor to slow down the boss troll. Sylvie, who was, too scared to speak up when Kai got expelled, finally stands her ground and refuses to abandon Alice. In a genuinely heartbreaking moment, Alice uses her very last bit of magic to cast a teleport spell, throwing Sylvie out of danger and sacrificing herself to the trolls. So Sylvie is just left there on the ground, crying, waiting for the trolls to finish her off. But the blow never comes. Suddenly, red thorns impale the monsters and ice freezes the boss troll solid. Kai spectacularly steps right out of the shadows, with the demon Ares right behind him. Turns out they had already conquered this dungeon. Kai looks down at the terrified priestess and coldly asks, "Are you abandoned too?"
No, Kai doesn't just take her out. No, he sets the ultimate trap. Using the dungeon core he and Ares just claimed from that troll cave, Kai fully restores the Tower of a Ruin, which is the dungeon Luke's party lied to the church about clearing. Because they filed a false report claiming they killed Ares and cleared the tower,
The church forces the disgraced, totally exhausted hero party to go right back into the lethal trap to clean up their mess. It is a tactical masterstroke. It all boils over in this brutal, cinematic climax on the tower's rooftop. Luke's furious party arrives to ambush Kai, but Kai just systematically dismantles them. When their new assassin tries to backstab him, Kai uses his Dragon Slayer stance to reflect the damage, dropping the boy instantly. He freezes the warrior Bria with his Medusa Eye. Then, he uses a stolen hero spell called Golden Thorn to magically torture Luke, Rick, and Frey, dropping them to the stone floor in absolute agony. Kai is literally standing over Luke, ready to deliver the final blow. But then, boom, the sky splits wide open. Golden light pours through the clouds, and time literally freezes. Ares stops mid-flight. Kai is frozen in place. The Raiden God himself steps in to interrupt the execution and save his chosen hero. It is a massive, jaw-dropping cliffhanger. Inside this frozen sliver of time, Luke makes this pathetic, yet completely terrifying bargain with the god. He screams out, "Let pain become power to kill the enemies of the god." And the god actually answers this twisted prayer. A glowing divine brand violently burns itself directly into the back of Luke's hand, marking him as a true avatar of divine wrath. When time snaps back, the power scaling is just off the charts. We're not talking a minor buff here. Luke's level and major stats instantly multiply tenfold. He is suddenly 10 times faster, stronger, and infinitely more lethal. Kai is instantly put in unavoidable god-tier danger, completely outmatched by the raw numbers. But come on, Kai isn't going to just roll over and take it. He launches this brilliant, incredibly high-stakes counterattack. As Luke charges up this apocalyptic spell, Kai casts clock acceleration to slow down time just enough to dodge. He reaches out, grabs Luke's glowing hand, and using Steel Star, Kai literally steals the divine hero magic itself. Then, as Luke swings with 10 times his normal strength, Kai uses his Dragon Slayer stance to reflect the hit back at double force, instantly obliterating the hero. So Kai drops from the massive backlash of stealing divine magic, but, and there's always a but, it's not over. Luke's decimated, headless corpse suddenly rises right back up. The divine brand on his hand is now entirely puppeteering the body, swinging its sword with corrupted, invincible skills. Which really begs the question, how in the world do you fight a divine puppet that literally can't be killed? To beat it, Kai's new team has to get super creative. They realize the god is controlling the corpse from the sky, like a puppet on strings, right? So they cut the signal. Kai immobilizes it with a sticky web, Sylvie weakens it with a holy mark, and Ares opens a dark dungeon gate right underneath it. They drop the puppet straight into the dungeon's interior, knowing for a fact that a god's divine reach cannot penetrate the depths of a dungeon. Kai dives in right after it. Down in this dark obsidian room, the corpse is just a twitching, helpless mess, completely disconnected from the god's power. Kai steps forward, drives a red thorn directly into the glowing brand on the hand, and shatters it into a million pieces. The corpse turns to dark sand. The hero is finally, permanently, dead. With the dust finally settling, the emotional journey comes right back around. Sylvie approaches Kai and opens her hand. Sitting there in her palm is the ceramic locket. Cracked and warped for sure, but carefully repaired. It turns out, back when Kai was abandoned on the road, Sylvie had painstakingly scoured the dirt, saved the crushed fragments of his family locket, and used her restoration magic to piece it all back together. That single, genuine act of atonement completely breaks through Kai's walls, forging a brand new dark alliance. We've got Kai the anti-hero, Ares the demon, and Sylvie the priestess. Plus, we find out Kai actually managed to revive the sage Alice, who's now going to act as their hidden spy inside the human church. Together, this trio sets their sights on a massive new goal, tearing down the Demon King and completely upending this hypocritical world. And that brings us to the end of this explainer. This story totally flips the script on your standard fantasy tropes. It leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. Who is the real monster in a world where holy gods puppet corpses, human heroes betray their own friends, and demons are the ones actually showing mercy? It's a fascinating look at the true nature of power and revenge. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I really hope this leaves you wanting to explore more of this incredible dark fantasy world. Catch you next time.